EA Sports, within the game.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football and brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game. And no run back here, so they'll bring it out to the 25. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
He grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft of 30 rounds then.
But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love to teach it, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
Buying time to his left. And this is dropped. Oh, boy. A chance for a big play early, but he could not secure it. On second down, Favre. Quick throw, knocked away, and incomplete. Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
So they accept the penalty, of course, and push the offense backwards a bit. A false start backs them up 5, 1st and 15. Up the middle they go with Sanders. Flashed the stick skills, but didn't get a ton from it. Stopped short of the 35. Favre on 2nd down. The tight end Kittle has it on the left side. And he's going to be marked down just inside the 35. So we're through one at the Coliseum in Oakland. 0-0 our score. This is the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. The NFC with the football here to begin the second quarter. Well, this drive, they're a perfect 2 of 2 on 3rd down conversions, but they need a full 10 yards here. To throw is Favre. He's going to wind up and air it out. And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. Jerry Rice, 34 yards. And the NFC is in for 6. Charles, here in their opening series, they said they had certain plays scripted for certain players. That looked like a well-designed play to get one of their top targets involved.
Yeah, let's face it, Brandon. A player of his talent is a problem for any opponent to defend, and we saw it right there. They tried to deny an open lane to him. He still outplayed the coverage and scored the early touchdown. Good luck trying to figure out how to defend him as this game moves on.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And it's now a 7-0 game. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Fielded just outside the goal line. Oh, a good-looking return set up here. And a good effort on the return there. Gets him across the 30, up to the 33. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2.
Trying for Brown, and it's intercepted. And they will set up shop in enemy territory at the 42-yard line. Well, he had to fit that into a pretty tight window over the middle. And, Charles, I think they were in zone defensively, weren't they?
They certainly were. Nice read on your part. And sometimes the quarterback isn't fooled between zone and man. Sometimes just fooled by the type of zone that he sees. Because oftentimes, those linebackers will vacate and run downfield with receivers. In this case, he played a pure zone and was in the wrong spot for the QB.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression, commitment to excellence.
All right, rifles one, and that's going to be intercepted. Rod Woodson with a pick. 30. 10. And he is going to score. It's a pick 6 and an AFC touchdown.
That was a nice catch, and not by the guy you thought it was going to be. How about the defender turning into an offensive player as soon as the ball hits his hands, and off he goes, off to the races, and into the end zone.
Now Adam Vinatieri for the point after. It's up and good, and we're tied at 7 here in quarter number 2. A heck of a play there defensively, getting the interception, navigating his way into the end zone for the touchdown. So all even at 7 now as they kick it away. Hester going to decide against a return, and they will spot this at the 25. Now the NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss, a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
2nd and 6, just inside the 30. Favre tries for Rice, intercepted. Picked up by Rob Woodson. And they will finally get to him, but a great return has set him up 1st and goal at the 5. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. So after the INT, it's Brady. And he is going to go down. Back at the 11-yard line. Multiple players combined for their team's first sack of the game. The 1st and goal looked like things were set up nicely, and now all of a sudden on 2nd and goal, Charles, a big challenge ahead of them.
And you have to know when you're this close to the goal line, things are going to happen faster, so you've got to get the ball out quick. Not going to have much time in the pocket before the defenders bring pressure.
So they get pushed back to the 11, and here's 2nd and goal. Another try after the first down sack. Brady, and he fires one that's intercepted. Picked up by Jalen Ramsey. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back.
And as we've seen, points have been precious so far, and they just threw some away on that snap. And look, let's face it, as we advance further into this game, that play will be on the minds of everyone who's watching it. They wonder if this is the turning point. Is this the spot where those points were given away and could cost them a ball game?
Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. And this is going to double their room to maneuver, able to get it from the 5 to the 10-yard line. After the pickup of 5, here's 2nd and 5. Throwing is far. Complete to the tight end, Kittle, over the middle of the field. And they are going to have a first down, and they're in field goal range as well as they're down inside the 20. They'll throw now on the final play. And this will be incomplete. 1 second left to go.
But there's an incompletion, partner, and the struggles through the air continue because so far their lack of passing production has led to a lack of points.
Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game, known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world.
The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. Now the second half forthcoming from Oakland. The drive starts with a run by Allen. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers, and did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
So they're forced to punt on 4th as this one's away. On the return, Hester. It's a net of 40 there, a punt of 48, and a return of 8. And the NFC will take over 1st and 10. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. And he is going to lose yardage here. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
Well, the AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There's 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Got to assume this defense will be charging again here. It's 2nd and 15. Now a first carry for their fullback. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him. And now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Here's Hester. And he'll take this across the 25 before going out of bounds. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. And our game's hit a little bit of a lull here, a little bit of a snag. Punts on back-to-back drives.
And old-school coaches don't necessarily mind that. Didn't turn it over, right? Didn't create a big play for the other team. Right now what you're looking for is, can you gain an advantage in field position? And that's what both teams are seeking right now.
Yeah, they'll be seeking to gain that advantage here on this drive. 3 quarters have come and gone at the Coliseum in Oakland. All tied between the AFC and NFC, and we are set up for a battle to the finish. And we're back to the John Madden Legacy game after this. From the shotgun, it's Favre. Pass incomplete, but the flag in the backfield, and this might be a roughing call.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense.
Well, Charles, sometimes we talk about the lengths officials sometimes go to protect star quarterbacks, but that was tough to argue against.
Yeah, and I'm sure that everyone's going to say, hey, we're going to administer the penalty the same way for all quarterbacks. But when it's a star back there, even more so are they going to be diligent about throwing the flag.
Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told him, call me when it's 11-on-11, and he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way, and John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. Now Favre. That's to the right side, complete to Kittle. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, the Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. Wisnowski on to punt as he sends this one away. And the punt over the side in the air, and the spot will be inside the 35. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Now this game, it has obviously been all about the defense on both sides of the football. Which offense is going to break through here? We'll see if they can do it on this drive. And he'll be tackled just past the 35 at the 36. The first down run got 5. Here's 2nd and 5. To throw is Brady. A hit as he throws there, incomplete. You think about John Madden in his retirement years post-broadcasting. He was about as active as most people are in their working years. I mean, he continued to play a key role on the NFL's competition committee. He was available to a wide range of people as a tutor, as a mentor. He continued to teach the game of football to all who would listen. And Charles, as you and I know, he even continued to provide input, a lot of input on the Madden video game. Yeah, I know a lot of folks that design and build this game certainly look forward to their yearly visits out to the Madden compound that he had out at the East Bend. They pitch the new aspects of each year's game to him, get his feedback, and then get to sit back and spend 6 hours with him on a Sunday, watching football and listening to him tell stories and talk even more ball. It had to be an incredible experience for all involved. Brady's throw caught by his receiver, Hill. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds left to go in the game. So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. Now Allen. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. Now a timeout called for by the defense as the clock shows 50 seconds to play here in quarter number 4. The last run got a couple. Here's 2nd and 8. They keep it on the ground. Allen again. And room there to work it inside the 25. Now the defense will burn their 3rd and final timeout. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break. This will be play number 8 here on the drive. It's 3rd and a yard. Here's Allen. They'll be marked inches short. No gain on the play, and that's going to lead them to 4th down.
Partner, you got about 20 coaches on your payroll, but there's 60,000 of them in the stands. I don't think any of them like that play.
And the later we go, it's starting to sound like 100,000 in here. So the field goal unit is on the field as this is a big spot right here. This to take the lead here in the final minute. It has the distance, and it is good. Adam Vinatieri. So this, an absolute thriller. The AFC able to win it on the late field goal. Just an incredible afternoon of football. And for all of us at EA Sports, one final look back as we say, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.